In the heart of a chilly Illinois dawn, Barack Obama began his journey. Chicago lay behind him, its skyline a glittering promise on the horizon, while Springfield awaited his arrival with its own demands and dreams. Indeed, the 200-mile drive, stretching over 3.5 monotonous hours, lay before him like a metaphor for his life. Long, challenging, but filled with purpose. But the road to Springfield was more than asphalt and distance. As the miles rolled by, Barack found solace in the hum of the engine and the rhythmic passing of the highway markers, envisioning family life back in Chicago, where Michelle held down the fort. She was his rock, managing their home with the same precision and care she brought to her roles in the community and at the University of Chicago Medical Center, and their daughters, Malia and Sasha, were the heartbeats that kept them grounded. And yet, how did this humble beginning lead to the rise of an African-American dynasty of unparalleled influence? In today's episode, we'll take you on a journey that spans the entire globe, from the sunny shores of Hawaii to the temperate sands of Africa, all the way to the south side of Chicago, as we describe the Obamas, the most powerful black family in the world. In 2024, the Obamas are living proof that being the former first family comes with perks galore, and then some. And with a jaw-dropping $70 million net worth, Barack and Michelle Obama have transformed their post-presidency years into a dazzling display of financial prowess. Indeed, they've not just sat back and basked in past glory. They've leaped into the realms of book deals, high-profile speeches, media ventures, and real estate, ensuring their legacy is far from a mere historical footnote. For example, Barack's memoirs are not just bestsellers, they're publishing juggernauts. And his opus, A Promised Land, commanded a colossal $65 million deal, while Michelle's Becoming has shifted over 15 million copies. And their Netflix production company, Higher Ground Productions, hasn't just enhanced their brand, it snagged an Oscar for American Factory. Furthermore, their speaking fees have mushroomed to an impressive $400,000 a pop. Add Barack's annual presidential pension of over $200,000, covering health insurance and Secret Service, and their financial portfolio would make even Wall Street do a double take. And it should go without saying that their residences are the epitome of opulence. For instance, the Obamas' primary home in Washington, D.C.'s ritzy Kalorama neighborhood is an $8.1 million masterpiece from the 1920s, featuring 9 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms, and lush gardens. Undoubtedly, it strikes the perfect balance between seclusion and access to the political heart of the U.S. Their Martha's Vineyard estate is no less extravagant. Clocking in at $11.75 million, this 29-acre haven boasts a nearly 7,000-square-foot main house with 7 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms, and an array of stone fireplaces. With sweeping Atlantic views, a swimming pool, a 2-car garage, a separate barn, and a boathouse, it's a luxurious retreat from the frenetic pace of public life. And in Hyde Park, Chicago, their former home stands as a sentimental cornerstone. This is where the Obama journey began, and their ties to the city remain strong through community initiatives and the Obama Presidential Center, a project aimed at inspiring future leaders. Yet, even in their well-heeled bubble, the Obamas are never out of reach of the U.S. Secret Service. The agency's protective measures are legendary, at least for certain political candidates. When working for the Obamas, they use secure perimeters, coordinate with local law enforcement, and use cutting-edge surveillance systems and neutralize threats before they can even get close. Their code names, Barack is Renegade and Michelle is Renaissance, add a dash of glamour to their already glittering lifestyle, proving their security is as sophisticated as their celebrity. Additionally, with even years away from the White House, the Obamas are still heavyweight contenders in global politics and media. Former President Barack Obama remains a towering presence in political discourse, and his approval ratings, according to Pew Research Center, are still sky-high, with a majority of Americans holding him in high regard, consistently eclipsing those of many current political figures, including President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and former President Donald Trump. And Michelle Obama's popularity is equally formidable. A recent Ipsos poll revealed that she enjoys a favorability rating surpassing both Biden and Trump by over 10 percentage points. This widespread admiration underscores the Obamas' lasting impact and charm. In this regard, Barack Obama's impact on the 2024 election is particularly noteworthy. Rumor has it that his influence played a role in President Joe Biden's decision to step aside. And while solid evidence is elusive, many speculate that Obama's sway within the Democratic Party might have influenced Biden's choice. Moreover, there's chatter that Obama had a preference for another candidate, but eventually backed Kamala Harris to unite the party and strengthen the Democratic front for the upcoming election. Thus, this endorsement wasn't merely a gesture, it was a strategic move, underscoring their continued influence and commitment to shaping the political landscape. And yet, you're probably wondering how a quiet, bookish Hawaiian and a star student from the south side of Chicago got together to create the most powerful black family in the world. In order to get the full picture, let's go all the way back to the beginnings of the Obama and Robinson families in the next chapter. The roots of Barack Obama's family stretch back to the 19th century, beginning with his great-great-grandfather, Opio, who was born around 1830 near Lake Victoria in Africa. And Opio's lineage is marked by significant transitions, most notably with his son Onyango, born around 1895, who became the grandfather of none other than Barack Obama Sr. Interestingly, this paternal ancestor of the future commander-in-chief, named Onyango, embraced Islam, adopting the name Hussein Onyango Obama, and pursued a dual role as a mission cook and local herbalist. Soon, his marriage to one Habiba Akumu produced Barack Obama Sr., the father of the future president. Now, the Luo people, to whom Obama's ancestors belonged, are a Nilotic ethnic group native to the regions surrounding western Kenya and northern Tanzania. Their migration from Uganda into Kenya spanned several centuries, a journey intertwined with the migrations of related groups such as the Acholi and Padhola. The Luo practiced a varied subsistence strategy combining cattle herding, farming, fishing and hunting, and spoke Doluo, a language closely related to those of other Luo communities. By the 19th century, the Luo had established themselves in Kenya, gradually developing a distinct cultural and political identity. Their influence grew steadily, and by the 1960s, they had become a formidable presence in the newly independent nation of Kenya. Now, the future president's father, Barack Obama Sr., was born on the 18th of June 1936 in the Rachuonyo district of British Kenya. He grew up in the village of Nyangoma Kogelo within the Siaya district, and at the age of 6, he converted from Islam to Anglicanism while attending a missionary school, changing his name from Baraka to Barack. His parents' separation when he was 9 led to his upbringing under the care of his stepmother, Sarah Ogwell, and then Obama Sr.'s educational journey took him through various institutions, including the prestigious Anglican boarding school, Maseno National School. His academic prowess led him to marry his first wife, Kezia Aoko, in 1954, with whom he had 2 children, whom we'll discuss in depth in a little while as members of the broader Obama clan. Soon, Barry Sr.'s educational achievements in 1959 earned him a place in a special program, which brought him to the United States for studies at the University of Hawaii at Manoa in Honolulu, thus leading him to cross paths with a white woman named Stanley Ann Dunham, who would later become the mother of Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States. Now, Stanley Ann Dunham was born on the 29th of November 1942 in Wichita, Kansas, as the only child of Stanley Armour Dunham and Madeline Lee Payne Dunham. And her father's decision to name her Stanley, despite her being a girl, was a source of mild confusion and teasing during her youth. And though Dunham's family heritage was a mix of English with other notable Germanic elements, her lineage included John Punch, an African-American man condemned to slavery in 1640, interestingly making her a direct descendant of one of America's earliest documented slaves. But Stanley Ann's parents, Kansas natives, met and married in Wichita in 1940, and after the attack on Pearl Harbor, her father enlisted in the Army, and her mother took up work at a Boeing plant. Post-World War II, the family relocated multiple times across California, Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas before settling in Seattle, Washington in 1955. There, Stanley Ann attended Nathan Eckstein Junior High School and graduated from Mercer Island High School in 1960, before beginning her studies at the University of Hawaii at Manoa that same year. It was in this setting that she met Barack Obama Sr. in a Russian language class, of all places, setting in motion the events that would shape the future of the Obama family. Now, Stanley Ann Dunham and Barack Obama Sr.'s marriage encountered significant opposition from both their families, driven by cultural, racial, and personal concerns, and their union, emerging in an era when many states still prohibited interracial marriages, was both bold and contentious. For example, Dunham's parents, Stanley Armour Dunham and Madeline Lee Payne Dunham, were initially unsettled by their daughter's relationship with Obama Sr. Originally from Kansas, the Dunhams had relocated to Hawaii seeking new opportunities, but despite their move, they held traditional views, and the idea of their daughter marrying an African man was disquieting. Their worries were amplified by the fact that Dunham was only 18 and 3 months pregnant when she married Obama Sr., raising doubts about the stability and future of the marriage. But Obama Sr.'s family in Kenya also had their reservations. You see, he had left behind a wife, Kezia Aoko, and their 2 children, and although he informed Dunham that he was divorced, this wasn't true. Specifically, Luo culture required a complex divorce process involving a council of elders and the return of the dowry, which had not been completed. This cultural backdrop led his family to view his marriage with skepticism, worried about his responsibilities in Kenya and the potential neglect of his first family. Furthermore, the cultural divide between the 2 families was profound. Dunham's parents were concerned about the racial prejudices their daughter and grandson would face in a predominantly white society. At the same time, Obama Sr.'s family worried about the cultural dissonance and his obligations in Kenya. Additionally, as their relationship evolved, personal dynamics between Dunham and Obama Sr. shifted. Initially marked by mutual admiration, their marriage soon faced strains, and Obama Sr.'s attitude reportedly became more demanding and less considerate, leading to tensions. For instance, an incident where he threw a meal Dunham had prepared highlighted the growing discord and the physical separation, with Dunham moving to Seattle with their newborn son, while Obama Sr. remained in Hawaii, further strained their marriage. Often, as they say, long distance is the wrong distance. It was within this culturally expansive and yet internally divisive context that Barack Hussein Obama II was born on the 4th of August 1961 in Honolulu, Hawaii. And shortly after his birth, his father left for Harvard University, with his parents' marriage ending when he was 2 years old. But his mother later married Lolo Suetoro, an Indonesian student, and the family moved to Jakarta when Obama was 6. In Indonesia, Obama attended both Catholic and Muslim schools, experiencing a unique cultural and religious environment, partially due to his mother, a staunch liberal, instilling in him a belief in the value of civil rights and social justice. Yet, despite Jakarta's vibrant life, Obama returned to Honolulu in 1971 to live with his maternal grandparents and attend Punahou School, an elite preparatory academy. Certainly this period was crucial in shaping his identity, as he grappled with understanding what he felt it meant to be a black man in America, a journey he later detailed in Dreams from My Father. At Punahou, Obama was known for his intellect and athleticism, especially in basketball. Yet, he faced racial isolation, being one of the few African-American students, and his mixed heritage and the absence of his father added layers of complexity to his self-identity. Despite these challenges, Obama excelled academically, graduating in 1979. Next, Obama's college years were marked by significant growth. He started at Occidental College in Los Angeles, engaging with political and social issues, and he then transferred to Columbia University in New York City, graduating in 1983 with a degree in political science. After undergrad, Obama worked for a year at Business International Group in New York before seeking more meaningful work by moving to Chicago in 1985 to become a community organizer on the South Side. There, he worked with low-income residents to improve living conditions and set up job training programs, experiences that deepened his understanding of urban African-American struggles and solidified his commitment to public service. Then, in 1988, Obama enrolled at Harvard Law School, where he became the first African-American president of the Harvard Law Review. And his time at Harvard brought national attention and led to a book contract, resulting in Dreams from My Father. During a summer internship at the Chicago law firm Sidley Austin in 1989, Obama met Michelle Robinson, a fellow Harvard law graduate. Initially skeptical, Michelle was eventually won over by Barack's persistence, and their first date, a visit to the Art Institute of Chicago and a movie, marked the beginning of a partnership that would become central to both their personal and professional lives. Now, Michelle Obama's own ancestry reveals a complex history. Her maternal great-great-great-grandmother, Melvinia Shields, was enslaved in South Carolina before being moved to northern Georgia. Melvinia had a child, Dolphus Shields, with Charles Marion Shields, the son of her owner. Dolphus Shields later moved to Birmingham, Alabama, where he married Alice Easley and had a son named Robert Lee Shields, and Robert Lee Shields' son, Pernell Shields, eventually relocated to Chicago with his mother, reflecting the Great Migration. This era, spanning from the early 20th century to the 1970s, saw millions of African Americans move from the rural South to urban centers in the North and West in search of better economic opportunities and to escape the conditions of Jim Crow segregation. Thus, Michelle LaVaughn Robinson, known as Michelle Obama, was born on the 17th of January 1964 in Chicago, and she grew up in a tight-knit family on the South Side, with her father working as a pump operator and her mother emphasizing education. Michelle excelled academically, skipping the second grade, attending Whitney M. Young Magnet High School, and later graduating cum laude from Princeton University. She then earned her Juris Doctor degree from Harvard Law School in 1988 before returning to Chicago, where Michelle worked at Sidley Austin and meeting Barack Obama. Therefore, their eventual marriage marked the beginning of a journey that would lead them to the White House, driven by shared values and mutual support. On the 3rd of October 1992, Michelle and Barack Obama exchanged vows at the Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago, and their early years together were a blend of professional achievement and personal growth. Barack began his legal career as an associate at Davis, Minor, Barnhill and Gallard, where he focused on voting rights cases. Meanwhile, Michelle transitioned from corporate law to non-profit work and academia, eventually becoming the Associate Dean of Student Services at the University of Chicago. Now, in 1996, roughly 4 years into their marriage, Barack entered the political arena as the elected representative of Illinois' 13th District in the state Senate, and his tenure was defined by efforts to reform ethics and healthcare laws, enhance tax credits for low-income families, and expand childcare subsidies. His re-elections in 1998 and 2002 underscored his growing influence in Illinois politics. However, the Obamas faced their own set of trials during these years. Michelle experienced a miscarriage, and the couple, in their desire to expand their family, turned to in vitro fertilization, leading to the births of Malia in 1998 and Sasha in 2001. And despite the pressures of Barack's burgeoning political career, the Obamas worked to maintain a stable home life for their daughters. They kept their residence in Chicago to provide consistency for Malia and Sasha, even as Barack's responsibilities demanded frequent travel. Michelle balanced her career with her role as a mother, often making sacrifices to support Barack's ambitions while ensuring their daughters were well cared for. And Barack's political ascent continued, though not without setbacks. In 2000, his bid for the U.S. House of Representatives against incumbent Bobby Rush ended in defeat. Yet, this did not deter him, and the 2004 Democratic National Convention became a defining moment for Barack. You see, on the 27th of July 2004, in Boston, he delivered a keynote address that captured the nation's attention. His speech, urging national unity and emphasizing common values, marked a departure from the conventional political discourse. And it was here that he famously declared, "There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There's the United States of America." Following the convention, Obama's visibility soared, and his memoir, Dreams from My Father, was reissued and became a bestseller, solidifying his position within the Democratic Party. Subsequently, in November 2004, Obama achieved a resounding victory in the U.S. Senate race against Republican Alan Keyes, capturing 70% of the vote. Sworn into office in January 2005, he quickly made an impact with his work on ethics reform, healthcare, and veterans' benefits, co-sponsoring the Secure America and Orderly Immigration Act, ironically with his future opponent, Senator John McCain. During his Senate years, Obama penned The Audacity of Hope, published in October 2006, and this book, outlining his political vision, garnered widespread acclaim and speculation about his presidential aspirations. Despite growing interest, Obama remained focused on his Senate duties, yet nonetheless, the momentum for a presidential bid was unmistakable. By October, during an interview on Meet the Press, Obama acknowledged serious consideration of a presidential run. Thus, a few short months later, on the 10th of February 2007, Obama officially declared his candidacy for the presidency in Springfield, Illinois, at the old state capitol, the site of Abraham Lincoln's famous House Divided speech. And from the beginning, Obama's campaign was characterized by its focus on hope, change, and unity. His message resonated across a diverse electorate, particularly among young voters and minorities. Furthermore, the innovative use of social media and grassroots organizing was central to his campaign's success, creating an expansive network of supporters and volunteers. But the Democratic primary was fiercely competitive, with Obama facing off against several seasoned politicians, notably Senator Hillary Clinton. And indeed, the contest between Obama and Clinton was one of the most intense primaries in recent history. Yet, Obama's victory in the Iowa caucuses in January 2008 was a crucial early triumph that confirmed his status as a serious contender. The primary season continued to be a hard-fought battle, with Obama and Clinton exchanging victories, but by the 3rd of June, Obama had amassed sufficient delegates to secure the nomination. At the Democratic National Convention in August, he accepted the nomination with a stirring address that energized his supporters. For the general election, Obama selected Senator Joe Biden of Delaware as his running mate, facing the Republican ticket of Senator John McCain and Governor Sarah Palin. And the campaign was marked by aggressive advertising and frequent debates. But a turning point emerged in September 2008 with the onset of the global financial crisis. Obama's calm and measured response contrasted with McCain's more erratic approach, including a temporary suspension of his campaign, and this difference in leadership style was pivotal in solidifying Obama's lead in the polls. Additionally, throughout the campaign, Obama's team excelled in both traditional and new media. Their strategic use of television advertising and social media helped them raise unprecedented amounts of money, allowing them to outspend McCain in crucial battleground states. As Election Day approached, polls consistently favored Obama. Consequently, on the 4th of November 2008, with record voter turnout, Obama won decisively, as he carried key swing states such as Florida, Ohio, and Virginia, as well as traditionally Republican states like Indiana and North Carolina. In total, he secured 365 electoral votes to McCain's 173, winning 53% of the popular vote. That night, in a poignant moment, Obama addressed a crowd of 250,000 people in Grant Park, Chicago, marking both the culmination of his campaign and the start of a new chapter in American history. Without a doubt, Barack Obama's triumph in the 2008 presidential election marked a historic moment in American history. As the first African-American president, Obama's victory was both a political and cultural milestone, and the global reaction to Obama's election was one of immense enthusiasm. Around the world, his victory was hailed as a symbol of democratic potential and a new chapter in American leadership. In Kenya, where Obama's father was from, the day was marked by public celebrations and declared a national holiday. Similar festivities unfolded in Indonesia and Japan as people gathered to watch the inauguration and celebrate its historic significance. And Obama's inauguration on the 20th of January 2009 was a historic event, drawing an unprecedented 1.8 million attendees to the National Mall in Washington, D.C. The ceremony's theme, A New Birth of Freedom, paid tribute to Abraham Lincoln and emphasized the ideals of renewal and unity that Obama aimed to represent. Yet, when Barack Obama assumed the presidency on that faithful day, he inherited a nation grappling with the severe repercussions of the Great Recession. In the first 100 days of Barack Obama's presidency, the country's economic turmoil was palpable, and the newly inaugurated president's administration wasted no time in addressing the crisis. Central to their efforts was the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, a sweeping $787 billion stimulus package designed to jolt the economy back to life. But this ambitious plan, alongside the Troubled Asset Relief Program, or TARP for short, initiated under President George W. Bush, became a focal point of contention. You see, Obama, who had previously endorsed TARP as a senator, took a proactive role in securing additional funds, lobbying vigorously to extend the bailout with an extra $350 billion, and this move, intended to stabilize the financial sector, was met with criticism. Detractors argued that the bailout disproportionately favored large financial institutions, leaving average Americans facing foreclosures and unemployment largely unassisted. Meetings between Obama and bank executives, coupled with his administration's reluctance to impose restrictions on executive bonuses at firms like AIG, fueled the perception that his policies prioritized Wall Street over Main Street. Indeed, Obama's administration's strong support for big banks' financial interventions led to accusations of an excessive alignment with Wall Street interests, and continues to be a thorn in the side of the Obama legacy. Now, Michelle Obama, assuming the role of First Lady in 2009, initially approached her new position with caution, concerned about preserving a sense of normalcy for her daughters, Malia and Sasha. However, she soon embraced her role with vigor, launching several impactful initiatives. One of her early endeavors was the creation of a vegetable garden on the south lawn of the White House in April 2009, and this garden laid the groundwork for her Let's Move campaign, which she officially launched in 2010 to address childhood obesity. The initiative emphasized healthy eating and physical activity for children, reflecting Michelle's commitment to public health. Meanwhile, Malia and Sasha, aged 10 and 7 when they moved into the White House, experienced an extraordinary upbringing. The Obama administration made efforts to safeguard their privacy while allowing them a semblance of ordinary childhood experiences, and they attended Sidwell Friends School in Washington, D.C., participating in sports and music, despite the constant presence of Secret Service protection. Heartwarmingly, the president often remarked on how the girls, in their pajamas and seeking bedtime stories, transformed the White House into a true family home. Then, as the economy showed signs of recovery, Obama shifted focus toward healthcare reform, culminating in the passage of the Affordable Care Act, informally known as Obamacare, in March 2010. This landmark legislation aimed to expand healthcare coverage and reduce costs, becoming one of his signature achievements. However, it also attracted considerable opposition. In addition to the Affordable Care Act, Obama pursued a series of domestic policy reforms. The Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, signed into law in July 2010, represented the most extensive overhaul of financial regulations since the Great Depression, and it sought to prevent another financial crisis by enhancing oversight of financial institutions and establishing the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Another notable achievement was the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell in December 2010, allowing LGBTQ+ individuals to serve openly in the military. This significant policy shift fulfilled a campaign promise that would later see even more legislative advancement in his second term. Lastly, as his first term neared its end, Obama introduced the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA program, in June 2012. DACA aimed to defer deportations and provide work authorization to young undocumented immigrants, commonly referred to as dreamers, who had been brought to the US as children. The program, designed as a temporary measure, allowed nearly 900,000 individuals to obtain legal employment in the US. Specifically, it required that applicants arrived in the US before their 16th birthday, resided continuously in the country since the 15th of June 2007, and met educational or military service requirements. But while many viewed DACA as a compassionate response to a pressing issue, critics argued that Obama had exceeded his executive authority and circumvented the legislative process. And in matters of national security, Obama's presidency saw a marked expansion of surveillance programs, and his stance evolved significantly from his earlier criticisms of the Bush administration's surveillance practices. By 2012, he signed a 5-year extension of the FISA Amendments Act, which he had once opposed. And this shift became more pronounced in June 2013, when Edward Snowden revealed the extent of NSA surveillance under Obama's administration. Snowden's disclosures exposed the collection of telephone records of millions of Americans and the monitoring of major internet company servers. Initially defending these practices as essential for national security and subject to oversight, Obama later acknowledged the need for reforms, proposing changes to the NSA's telephone metadata program in January 2014. Then, Obama's first term also involved a challenging re-election campaign. With the economy recovering only slowly, he faced Mitt Romney, the former governor of Massachusetts, who criticized his economic policies and promised job creation through tax cuts and reduced government spending. Obama's campaign, leveraging advanced digital strategies and social media, maintained a clear edge over Romney's more traditional approach. While Romney briefly gained ground after a strong performance in the first presidential debate, Obama rebounded in subsequent debates and garnered a boost from his response to Superstorm Sandy. Then, on the 2nd of November 2012, Obama secured his second term with a decisive victory. But this election saw record-breaking campaign financing and negative advertising, underscoring the intense nature of the contest. As Obama began his second term on the 20th of January 2013, he faced ongoing challenges. The issues of economic recovery, healthcare reform, and a polarized political landscape loomed large, setting the stage for the next phase of his presidency. Barack Obama's second term as President of the United States from 2013 to 2017 was a period marked by substantial achievements and significant controversies, reflecting a complex phase in American history. You see, at the outset of his second term, Obama concentrated on economic recovery. But the U.S. economy, still grappling with the effects of the Great Recession, began to show signs of improvement. By the second quarter of 2015, the economy had grown by 3.7%, and the unemployment rate had decreased to 5.1%, indicating a strong rebound. And on the international stage, Obama achieved notable diplomatic successes. One of the most prominent was the Iran nuclear deal, a landmark agreement aimed at preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. This deal marked a shift towards diplomacy over military action. Another significant achievement was the restoration of diplomatic relations with Cuba, ending decades of hostility and opening a new chapter in US-Cuba relations. Despite these successes, Obama's second term was fraught with controversy. For example, the administration's expanded use of drone strikes became a major issue. During his presidency, drone strikes increased significantly, with 563 strikes targeting countries such as Pakistan, Somalia, and Yemen. Indeed, this was a sharp rise from the 57 strikes carried out under George W. Bush. Thus, the expansion of drone warfare led to criticism due to high civilian casualties and ethical concerns about the classification of military-age males in strike zones as combatants. The drone program faced intense scrutiny for its high civilian toll and legal and moral implications. The administration's policy of assuming all military-age males in a strike zone were combatants, unless proven otherwise, posthumously drew particular criticism. And this approach was seen as potentially inflating combatant casualties and underreporting civilian deaths. In response to growing criticism, Obama introduced a near certainty standard in 2013, requiring near certainty that no civilians would be harmed before authorizing a strike. This policy shift aimed to address concerns about the ethics and legality of drone strikes. Nonetheless, independent estimates suggested that between 384 and 807 civilians were killed in these strikes during Obama's presidency, while the White House's own figures, released under pressure, estimated between 64 and 116 civilian deaths. Yet, domestically, Obama made significant strides on social issues. His evolving stance on same-sex marriage culminated in the Supreme Court's 2015 decision in Obergefell versus Hodges, which legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. This was a major victory for the LGBTQ+ community and a defining achievement of Obama's presidency. And throughout these years, Michelle Obama continued her work as First Lady while focusing on raising their daughters, Malia and Sasha. Michelle remained committed to her initiatives, particularly the Let's Move campaign, which saw significant growth, including a partnership with the US Olympic Committee in 2012 to introduce athletic programming for millions of children. By 2016, nearly 2 million children had participated in these programs. And Malia and Sasha grew up under the public eye during this period, with Malia graduating from high school in 2016 and choosing to take a gap year before starting at Harvard University. During this time, she traveled to Liberia and Morocco to support the Let Girls Learn initiative, focusing on girls' education globally. Sasha continued her high school education, maintaining a relatively private life while excelling in her studies and extracurricular activities. Yet the second term also faced controversies that tested the administration. The 2012 Benghazi attack, which resulted in the deaths of 4 Americans, including Ambassador Chris Stevens, led to investigations and criticism of the administration's handling of the incident. Additionally, the IRS scandal, which involved targeting conservative groups for extra scrutiny, and the Justice Department's seizure of phone records from the Associated Press, raised concerns about governmental overreach and press freedom. Specifically, Obama's use of executive actions to overcome congressional gridlock drew sharp criticism from opponents who viewed these measures as overreach. As the 2016 presidential election approached, Obama was deeply involved in supporting Hillary Clinton, and his endorsement in June 2016 marked a significant shift from their earlier rivalry, and he campaigned vigorously for her, emphasizing the importance of continuing the progress made during his presidency. However, the campaign was disrupted by the FBI's announcement of a renewed investigation into Clinton's emails shortly before the election, impacting the campaign's momentum. Therefore, on the 8th of November 2016, Donald Trump's unexpected victory was a blow to Obama and his administration, who had hoped to see Clinton continue their legacy. In his final weeks, Obama focused on securing his legacy through executive actions, including banning oil drilling off the Atlantic coast and establishing new environmental protections. His presidency concluded with a farewell address in Chicago, where he urged Americans to remain hopeful and engaged in the democratic process. After leaving office on the 20th of January 2017, the Obamas embarked on a vacation, starting with a stay in the British Virgin Islands with billionaire Richard Branson and then moving to French Polynesia. During this period, Barack Obama began working on his memoir, marking a transition from the intense pressures of the presidency to a more relaxed phase of his life. The Obama family is often viewed through the lens of Barack, Michelle, and their daughters Malia and Sasha. Yet, this immediate family is part of a broader network, each member contributing to a rich, interconnected story. Michelle Obama's family includes her older brother, Craig Robinson, a significant figure in his own right. Born in April 1962 in Calumet Park, Illinois, Craig Robinson emerged as a notable basketball player during his time at Princeton University, and there he achieved distinction as a 2-time Ivy League Player of the Year and ranked as the 4th highest scorer in the school's history. After earning a BA in sociology, Robinson pursued professional basketball briefly in the UK before transitioning to finance, working as a bond trader. He returned to the basketball world later, taking on coaching roles at institutions like Brown University and Oregon State University. At Brown, his tenure was marked by recognition as Ivy League Coach of the Year by Basketball.com. In 2017, Robinson shifted to sports administration, taking up executive roles with the Milwaukee Bucks and the New York Knicks. By 2020, he had assumed the position of Executive Director of the National Association of Basketball Coaches. Yet, despite his busy career, Robinson has consistently been a steadfast supporter of his sister Michelle, standing by her throughout her time as First Lady and beyond. Barack Obama's family, on the other hand, is more complex, spanning multiple continents and family branches. But among his maternal half-siblings, Maya Soetoro-Ng stands out as a close and supportive figure. Born in 1970 to Barack's mother, Ann Dunham, and her second husband, Lolo Soetoro, Maya grew up with Barack in Hawaii. She pursued a career in education, achieving a PhD in International Comparative Education from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. She taught social studies in secondary schools and later joined the faculty at the University of Hawaii, focusing on peace education, multicultural education, and conflict management. Maya has also been a vigorous supporter of Barack's political endeavors, playing a significant role in his presidential campaigns and contributing to the Obama Foundation's leadership programs in the Asia-Pacific region. On Barack's paternal side, his half-siblings have made notable contributions in their respective fields. Dr. Omar Obama, born in 1960, is a distinguished sociologist, journalist, and author, and Mark Obama Ndesanjo, born in 1965, has carved a distinct path in China. A graduate of Brown University, Stanford, and Emory, Ndesanjo is an accomplished musician, author, and businessman. Living in Shenzhen since 2002, he runs an internet company and is involved in various philanthropic activities. Fluent in Mandarin, he embraces Chinese culture, including calligraphy, and his literary works include the novel Nairobi to Shenzhen and an autobiography, An Obama's Journey, which offer insights into his complex family dynamics. However, the most controversial figure among Barack's siblings is his half-brother Malik Obama, a family member who was initially so supportive and close to Barack that he stood best man at his and Michelle's wedding. Yet, Malik's relationship with his brother deteriorated over time. His public criticisms of Barack, accusing him of neglect and describing him as cold and ruthless, have created a significant rift between them. And Malik's support for Donald Trump during the 2016 US presidential election and his vocal disputes with Barack have only intensified the discord. His memoir, Big Bad Brother from Kenya, coupled with issues surrounding the Barack H. Obama, has further fueled the controversy. Furthermore, Malik's presence on Twitter has been particularly notable for its provocative nature. He has frequently employed the platform to voice his dissatisfaction and disparage Barack, and his tweets have been characterized by derogatory language and personal attacks, including referring to Barack as a fake snake and a snob. Despite these ongoing tensions, Barack and Michelle Obama have largely remained focused on their immediate family and their post-presidency endeavors. And Malia and Sasha Obama have pursued their own paths with independence. Malia's interest in filmmaking has led her to internships with the television show Girls and the Weinstein Company, and by 2021, Malia had joined the writing staff of a project at Amazon Studios created by Donald Glover. Her directorial debut at the 2024 Sundance Film Festival with her short film The Heart, which delves into themes of loss and forgiveness, marked a significant milestone in her burgeoning career. And Sasha, having graduated from the University of Southern California in 2023 with a degree in sociology, has focused on her personal well-being and fitness. Therefore, while both Malia and Sasha have been encouraged to steer clear of politics, their journeys reflect a commitment to their personal passions and goals. In navigating their own paths, it's anyone's guess how the next generation of Obamas will leave their mark. But it is unlikely to be in the rough-and-tumble world of political intrigue like their father. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. What is your opinion of the Obamas? Are they the closest thing we have to America's family, or are they secret political operators that give the appearance of being more wholesome than they are? We've enjoyed hearing your thoughts on our recent series covering presidential families, so let us know, but do play nice down there. We're not trying to turn into a left versus right channel. With that all said, thanks for joining us for another episode of Old Money Luxury, and cheers until next time.